It started with a knock, sharp, intentional, the kind that tightens your gut before your mind even processes the sound. A moment later, the front door slammed open so hard it shook the frame. 3 men marched in wearing matching polo shirts stamped with the HOA logo, voices raised. Shoving some official-looking paper at me they insisted was a warrant. I stood frozen, trying to process what was happening. Was my homeowners association seriously launching a raid on my house? They had the wrong guy and definitely the wrong house. My name's Daniel Carter. I spent 35 years as a defense attorney across 3 different states before retiring. I've handled more courtroom drama than these clipboard warriors could dream of. I bought a cozy home in Maple Ridge Estates to enjoy a peaceful retirement. Ride my motorcycle, host weekend cookouts, and relax in the evenings with good friends. The realtor had brushed off the HOA like it was a casual, helpful group. Just neighbors making sure the lawns looked nice and houses didn't get painted neon colors. I didn't think twice. I should have. Thing is, my buddies and I aren't your average retirees. We go by the Iron Eagles. There's Wallace, used to sit on the state's highest court bench. Thomas, a retired CFO with nerves like tungsten. And Eric, an ex-FBI cybercrimes expert who still acts like every neighborhood Facebook post might be a covert op. We hang out in my garage, work on bikes, grill steaks, and share stories. We don't make noise. We don't break laws. We just live. But apparently we didn't fit the HOA's vision. Or, more accurately, we didn't fit Leonard Barnes's vision, the self-appointed king of the neighborhood. Before retiring, he managed a mid-level office somewhere and now treats Maple Ridge like his personal empire. Just weeks after I moved in, he showed up on my porch wearing a smug expression that said he'd found a new target. "Mr. Carter," he barked. "You're in violation." He might as well have been reading off a criminal charge sheet. The color of my garage door? Wrong shade of beige. My mailbox? Didn't meet their arbitrary size standard. Trash cans? Visible from the street for a grand total of 20 minutes. I figured I'd play along. Repainted the garage, swapped the mailbox, dragged the bins back the second the truck rolled away. It didn't matter. Next it was my hedges, too tall by an inch. My bird feeder, allegedly attracting dangerous wildlife. My Harley, now classified as a visual nuisance that had to be hidden. Every week came with a new violation, each fine larger than the last. I tried to shrug it off, keep things friendly. But then Barnes claimed I was operating a business because I invited friends over for burgers and beer. He reported my wind chimes for excessive noise. One evening, while tuning Wallace's bike, I slammed another violation notice down. "Apparently, I'm only allowed 2 guests a month now," I muttered. Wallace didn't look up, just said, "Let them push you around and they'll bleed you dry." That same night, Barnes's goons were skulking around outside, snapping photos like they were gathering evidence for a federal indictment. "Can I help you, gentlemen?" I asked, already knowing the answer. The tallest mumbled something about unapproved social gatherings. It wasn't about maintenance. It was about dominance. Within weeks, the so-called violations piled up to nearly 12 grand. I tried to contest it at an HOA meeting, but Barnes had set the rules so anyone with unresolved issues couldn't speak. I was silenced before I could even open my mouth. Then it hit me, this wasn't just about me. I spotted Grace Simmons, the widow across the street, sitting alone with a letter trembling in her hand. Her face was wet with tears. "They're going to take my house," she whispered. Her offenses? A few garden gnomes, leftover holiday lights, some dirt on the driveway. Pure nonsense. That's when I knew. Barnes wasn't enforcing anything, he was targeting people. The vulnerable, the isolated, anyone too tired or broke to push back. That's when we decided to fight back. Retirement was supposed to be peaceful, but in Maple Ridge it was time for war. The first step? Follow the money. Rumors about fees going up had been circulating. No one knew why. When Eric offered to dig into the association's finances, we all agreed. He didn't work alone for long. Thomas joined in, tracing financial trails like a dog on a scent. What they found was staggering. HOA dues had nearly tripled in just 2 years. Reserve accounts held over $500,000. And yet we had potholes, a closed pool, A clubhouse with a leaking roof. Eric uncovered emails. Real ones. Barnes had set up phony consulting firms and was funneling money into them. Clear evidence of fraud. Then came the final slap. A formal letter delivered to my door accusing me of operating a commercial venture. All because I hosted barbecues. They fined me $5,000 and hinted at legal action. That was it. We went full old school. I installed security cameras around my home. Turned out to be a wise move. Just a few days later, while I was volunteering at the Veterans Center, I got a phone alert. Live footage, 3 men, Barnes's lackeys, inside my house, opening drawers and going through boxes. I raced back home. Officer Ramirez was already there, shifting uncomfortably. "They say they had permission," he muttered. "From who?" "The neighborhood dictatorship." I shot back. He didn't answer, but he didn't arrest me either. That was the day the real fight began. He barely looked at me and muttered something, but I wasn't letting it slide. "Permission doesn't override state law," I snapped. "This is breaking and entering, plain and simple." He scribbled in his notepad, filed a report like the others before it, and left. No arrests, no consequences. My Harley had fresh scratches. A few tools vanished. I was livid. That night, Emily, my daughter, sharp as a blade and tougher than most grown men, sat beside me at the kitchen table. We pored over the HOA bylaws word by word. "They need a legitimate emergency to enter someone's property," she said. "What they did, totally illegal." We regrouped our little neighborhood crew. We weren't many, but we were determined. Frank found files linking Barnes' wife to shady shell companies that were siphoning off HOA funds. Bill unearthed property purchases. Barnes had been secretly buying up fancy rental homes. It started to make sense. Then the real break came. Emily's friend, a city clerk, whispered a name. Sunrise Holdings LLC. The same group scooping up foreclosed homes. And yes, Barnes was tied to them too. The scheme was beyond corrupt. They were slapping bogus violations on elderly homeowners, pushing them into foreclosure, and flipping their homes for massive profit. We had to find hard proof. Then Karen, Barnes' own assistant, knocked on my door. She'd had enough. She gave me a key to his office. Inside, a folder marked Special Projects lay buried in a drawer. Inside, real ledgers, secret payouts, incriminating emails. That was it, our smoking gun. Barnes came back swinging. I got slammed with a $15,000 fine. Then Scott Doyle, his enforcer, broke into my home. Again, with 2 goons, and hauled away my TV, saying it was evidence. But this time we were ready. When the police showed up, they found us, the Iron Eagles, standing tall. Our motorcycles blocked the driveway. Cameras were rolling. The whole neighborhood had turned up. Ramirez, the cop who used to shrug us off, had no choice but to start listening. We built a website, uploaded the files, videos, names, fake fines, the whole mess. Turns out nearly everyone had a Barnes horror story. A local reporter, Dana Howard, picked it up fast. Her article hit like a bomb. Maple Ridge HOA engulfed in corruption scandal. Barnes panicked, called a press conference, blamed agitators. But Dana didn't stop. She found more. Barnes Police Captain Buddy Nolan, secretly tied to Sunrise Holdings. When the state stepped in, Nolan was benched. Barnes and his inner circle got hit with charges: fraud, elder abuse, embezzlement. Still, Sunrise tried to strong-arm the neighborhood, buying up debts and pushing foreclosures. Then Susan, my wife, brilliant and always watching, found the flaw. "If the original violations were fake," she said, "then the liens based on them don't hold up." She was right. That one detail unraveled Sunrise's entire move. Dana dug deeper. Sunrise was part of a dirty web of officials across the county. The whole scheme imploded. The HOA was rebuilt from the ground up. Lower dues, real transparency, power shifted back to the people. Grace, our elderly neighbor, got to keep her home. Others who'd been pushed out were compensated. That summer, we threw the biggest block party the neighborhood had ever seen. Grace hugged me tight. You saved our homes, Daniel, she said. But I didn't do it alone. None of us did. We just refused to be afraid. Later that night, around the fire pit, Thomas raised a glass and chuckled. Daniel Carter can't mind his own business. Not even in retirement. We laughed. But we all knew the truth. We hadn't just stopped a scam. We took back what was ours. And if another tyrant comes knocking, even with our gray hairs and stiff backs, the Iron Eagles will be ready.